Well, if you're in the tourism and hospitality business, you have to be resilient, because since 2001, we've either been in decline or recovery 50% of the time.
Halifax and Nova Scotia, I think, are on the cusp of something big. We have been discovered, but there's still so much more opportunity for us.
Welcome to Place, the Tourism Industry Association of Nova Scotia's podcast. Our industry is worth $3.2 billion annually and employs over 50,000 Nova Scotians. So this podcast is designed to talk about tourism and the issues and topics that matter. Each episode, we will explore conversations that demonstrate the interconnectivity between tourism and the social, cultural, environmental health of the province. There is no place like Nova Scotia, and we want to ensure every Nova Scotia community benefits from the positive impacts that only tourism can bring.
Sometimes maybe government may not always be known as being the most flexible or resilient. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing at Tourism Nova Scotia and the team that we have, who are always listening, responding to industry and what their needs are, and developing new resources and programs.
Nova Scotia is rich in culture, and it's sort of a cultural fabric. It spreads across not only film and television, but also music and live theater and live performance and what I would call community experiences.
We need to do business differently to achieve maximum results for the Nova Scotia tourism industry. How do we balance the priorities of community, industry, and government? With a Nova Scotia-first mindset, we can achieve the maximum economic and social benefits that tourism offers. To put it simply, we need to work better together, work smarter, and put the interest of Nova Scotians and the province first.
Well, the area that I represent is on the western coast of Cape Breton Island. So from the time when I was a child, we would see, the visitors come in, especially in the summer season. And my father was a musician, and we would see them coming to festivals and dances, and the roads would get busier.
This is Minister Alan McMaster. He is responsible for numerous government portfolios, including communities, culture, tourism and heritage, and is Minister of Gaelic Affairs. His perspective is unique. He grew up in an area where tourism was vital and now sees its importance on a much greater scale as a minister.
And it just made things more exciting. And I knew there was always a buzz associated with tourism. So I've always seen it as a positive thing. And I see how now as finance minister, I can see how important it is for the economy. And so it's very big around my area, and I grew up with it, and it's important.
So what role can the government play in supporting and investing in tourism? Well, one of its essential responsibilities is infrastructure. A lack of adequate transport and communications make it much harder for Nova Scotia to compete.
Well, I think developing our product into a four-season product is key, and getting people here, particularly air travel, as things recover after the pandemic, restoring air travel routes is critical. We made some investments a little over a year ago into the Sydney and Halifax airports because they had capital needs. And because, as you can imagine, going through the pandemic when air travel had come to a halt at a few points, they needed that investment. So we chose as a government to make it. And I know it's starting to pay off. We're seeing some routes being restored right now, and we're going to continue to work on that for the industry. Well, I think, and these are things that are good for the entire province, but they're also critical for tourism, and that's broadband, high-speed internet, and better cell phone coverage. They're things that we, as residents of the province, want and need, and we've not gotten what we needed over the years. We need, especially in the broadband initiative, is going to have people connected to fiber op by the end of this year, so that's critical. And it's important for visitors who are coming here, because if they're leaving work and that, sometimes even if they're on vacation, they still need to be connected. So we hope that's going to make a real difference for businesses, so that their customers are going to be happy when they come here and not going to be, muttering that they're disappointed with the coverage. It's important. Tourism is an information-driven industry. People need the information in the moment they're in. They want to research where they're going next, maybe in the moment. We want them connected. Those are initiatives we're doing for the whole province that will help tourism.
Markets are changing, consumer trends are changing, global dynamics are changing, which all impact tourism.
A division of the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism and Heritage, Tourism Nova Scotia does much more than promote and attract visitors to this province. It works with communities and industry to increase tourism revenues through experience and sector development, business coaching, marketing, and visitor servicing.
What we have in our kind of corner of the world is so precious and the envy of many people. So when they come and they realize what we have, and to see the opportunity for businesses and communities to take what our natural assets, if you will, our culture, our attributes, and to turn those into experiences and ways in which they can deliver a business, a service, it's really very rewarding.
So how can we ensure that marketing efforts leverage a consistent Nova Scotia brand and avoid duplication?
The one thing with digital and online, it's created a level playing field. You can sit anywhere in the world and go online and make your decisions as to where you're going to book your flight, where you're going to stay. So if we're not up to playing the strong game and putting a strong effort forward, we're going to be overlooked. We're going to be missed. So it's of utmost importance that businesses, communities, the provinces as a whole is really putting their best foot forward and really putting their strongest effort in order to kind of penetrate, if you will, in this competitive travel world. It also creates new ways of thinking, new products, new offerings, if you will. Really excited by also businesses that are taking advantage of all the resources and programs and not just sitting back waiting for someone to come to them. Like I think that gives me a lot of hope. And we're really fortunate in some respects, being a smaller province, that we have that ability to know what's going on across the province, to have those connections, and to work with them and everyone in order to cohesively, offer a strong product and make a stronger destination.
So out of communities, culture, tourism and heritage, let's talk about how culture and tourism can collaborate.
Well, first and foremost, for both sides, we're basically fishing for the same people. We're fishing for people who want to be a part of something, that want to be, part of an experience. The thing is to create an event that will draw people to an area. So you're not only providing it for the people who exist in that area, but you're hopefully bringing people in from, to use an Atlantic Canadian term, from away, to be a part of that experience. My name is Wayne Carter. Most of my career has been spent, interestingly enough, around the film industry. In 2012, I started at the Atlantic International Film Festival as the executive director. And I did that for 10 years. And how I sort of became involved in tourism is about 2 years or 3 years into my tenure at the festival, it sort of came to me that maybe the festival wasn't as aligned with tourism as it probably should be. Arts and culture and tourism are an automatic connection. Interestingly enough, the Nova Scotia government now sees that because they've sort of put them all under the same umbrella. And so I reached out to the folks at Tie-Ins and said, I think we could be doing some things, because certainly one of the things that all arts and cultural festival type events or arts and cultural events, they bring people into a city or into a town or a village or whatever. Sometimes people choose to stay overnight. Maybe they stay even for a weekend or a week or whatever. But the sort of connection between tourism and arts and culture is just an obvious one. So our relationship with Tie-Ins began there, and it proved to be just a wonderful relationship over the course of, I think I was there for another 7 years after that at the festival, where we sort of grew in our relationship. And then I joined the board of Tie-Ins. I think I'm in my third year now in the Tie-Ins board. So yeah, I sort of sit at the table as kind of the arts and cultural, person to give background from that perspective, because a lot of the times the trends that tourism feels, arts and culture feels in sort of exactly the same ways. So I think, whether it's a music event or it's a film festival or it's some sort of a cultural experience event, they exist under the umbrella of a tourism attraction. That's one of the primary reasons they exist. So I think the connection between sort of both industries makes a lot of sense.
When we talk about collaboration, our communities never fail to inspire us. Often driven by nothing but the will to be a good neighbour, all levels of industry and government can learn from them. The province is bursting with amazing inspirational community stories, so we're happy to share one from the Eastern Shore.
So my name is Cheryl McLean. My husband and I own a small 9-room motel on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia. We moved here 3 years ago from Ontario and at the height of the pandemic, and we decided to uproot our kids and rebuild an entire life around this tiny little motel that sits on the ocean. So we inherited, or we bought, this motel that was quite dated, and we decided to make every room individual. So we took a little bit of a boho modern kind of feel that we love ourselves and aesthetics, and we transformed every single room into something unique and different, but all still very Nova Scotian and coastal. We, from the day that we landed in Port Dufferin, we were in the middle of a pandemic, so we couldn't go anywhere. And we were embraced right from day one. People would stop by our door to introduce themselves, ask us what we were going to do at the property. And right from the first day of construction and renovation, they just were our champions. They wanted to see this motel succeed and change and grow. It's been totally transformational for us as a family, and coming from corporations to being entrepreneurs has been the most wonderful transformation of all. Yeah, I'm so thankful and so grateful that we were in a position to have the opportunity to move here and open this company and to see it grow and be successful. And that has been absolutely in part because of the partnerships that we've created with people like TNS, Tourism Nova Scotia, Discover Halifax, Tyans. They've really contributed to our success. They are fans, they're supporters, they're resources, and they help make us what we are. And so without them, we never would have been, have seen the success that we've achieved so far.
Thank you for listening to Place, the Tourism Industry Association of Nova Scotia's podcast. If you'd like to learn more about the work we do to support, promote, and celebrate our tourism industry, please visit tyans.ca.